akin. Tito Sen, pakitanong ko, okay na ba? Edwin, may tanong si Tito Sen. Okay na? Okay na? The 73rd session of the Senate in the second regular session of the 17th Congress is hereby called to order. Senator Gregorio Honasan II will lead the chamber in prayer.
Thank you, Mr. President. Father Almighty, as we gather once more to resume work in plenary, sometimes differing in opinion, but united in purpose, to propose, deliberate, discuss, vote, and decide. After long days and endless nights, we also want to rest our tired bodies, hearts, minds, and spirit, and go home to the warmth of our family and children. But please remind us always that our country is our home, and our people are our family, and that no one is saved if some are lost or left behind, and that this nation under your name shall prevail against its worst enemies at home, and that should be enough to take care of our enemies abroad. Give us the courage to continue working for harmony in our families, cooperation in our communities, order in the state, inclusive progress for our nation, and security in our shores. And also, dear God, we commend to you our brother and colleague, former Senate President Ed Angara, a good person and a statesman, who now rests in your bosom, where he lives forever in our hearts. Amen.
Amen. Secretary, please call the roll.
The Honorable Senators Angara, Aquino, Binay, De Lima, Drilon, Ejercito, Escudero, Gatchalian, Gordon, Honasan, Ontiveros, Lacson, Ligarda, Pacquiao, Pangilinan, Po, Recto, Soto, Trillanes, Villanueva, Villar, Soberi, Senate President Pimentel.
With 17 senators present, the chair declares the presence of a quorum.
Mr. President,
Majority Leader.
Mr. President, I move to consider PS Resolution 732, taking into consideration PS Resolution 734.
Any objection? Hearing none, approved.
May we ask the Secretary to read the title of the measure?
Resolution expressing the profound sympathy and sincere condolences of the Senate of the Philippines on the death of former Senate President Edgardo Javier Angara.
Majority Leader.
Mr. President, may I ask that the sponsor or the principal author of Senate Resolution 732, Senator Binay, be recognized, and thereafter the Senate President, Senator Pimentel, who is the principal author of Senate Resolution 734.
Senator Binay is hereby recognized. Ano? So, Majority Leader, I will be the one.
Therefore, we ask the Senate President,
Okay.
may we ask the President Pro Temp to ascend
we ask
to the
Senator
rostrum,
Recto?
Mr. President.
Senator Recto to please ascend the rostrum and session suspended.
Session is resumed. Majority Leader.
Moving to recognize the Senate President, Senator Aquilino Pimentel, the fourth President, the third.
The Senate President is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Majority Leader. I'm here to sponsor this resolution expressing the profound sympathy and sincere condolences of the Senate to the family of former Senate President Edgardo J. Angara. We are going to present this resolution tomorrow to the family after the necrological services, which we will hold starting at 10 a.m. tomorrow here in the session hall. And this resolution states or enumerates the illustrious and colorful career of former Senate President Edgardo Angara as a public servant, which spanned almost 5 decades, with him serving as a delegate in the 1971 Constitutional Convention, who became President of the University of the Philippines, Senator for many terms, Senate President from 1993 to 1995, Chairman of the Commission on Appointments, Senate Minority Leader, Chairman of the Philippine National Bank, Secretary of Agriculture, Executive Secretary, and most recently a Special Envoy to the European Union. So he was the colleague of my father in the 1971 Constitutional Convention. And I also had the pleasure and the privilege of having been his colleague in the last Congress. So that was how long and fruitful his career as a public servant was. And of course, he's the father of our colleague, Senator Sonny Angara, who is not with us this session because he's busy with the wake of his father. And maybe we can excuse Majority Leader, if it is allowed by our rules, we can excuse the absence of our colleague, Senator Angara. So my dear friends, my dear colleagues, all of the achievements of former Senate President Edgardo Angara is listed or enumerated in this resolution, which we will present and read tomorrow during the necrological services. Well, if you look at the number of laws, the landmark laws authored and shepherded and passed by former Senate President Edgardo Angara, we could not help but shake our head and not believe that someone could achieve all of this. So I used to only associate Senator Angara, Ed Angara, with education, because he authored the Free High School Education Act. But if you look at all of he was a multifaceted, multi-talented legislator involved in various aspects of Philippine society. So we have the government assistance to students and teachers in private education, the Generics Act, the National Health Insurance Act, which is PhilHealth, Senior Citizens Act, the Agricultural Fisheries Modernization Act, the Government Procurement Reform Act, the Renewable Energy Act, the Commission on Higher Education, the TESDA law, the Magna Carta for Public Health Workers, even the National Museum Act of 1998, the NCCA, the Natatanging Manlilikha Award, the Ombudsman Law, the National Cultural Heritage Law, and the establishment of the Aurora Pacific Economic Zone Freeport Authority. So my dear friends, my dear colleagues, this is the man that we are honoring tomorrow, and I solicit your support in the passage of this resolution so we can timely give it to the family in tomorrow's necrological services. Thank you very much, Mr. President, Majority Leader, and my colleagues.
Majority
Mr.
Leader.
President, With the permission of the chamber, I move that all the senators present be made co-authors and sponsors of the PS Resolution 732, taking into consideration PS Resolution 734.
Is there any objection? There being none, motion is approved.
Mr. President, I move to adopt PS Resolution 732, taking into consideration PS Resolution 734.
Is there any objection? There being none, motion is approved.
Thank you. Mr. President, as we mourn the passing of Senator Edgardo J. Angara, tradition dictates that the Senate adjourn until 3 o'clock in the afternoon of Wednesday, May 16, 2018.
Is there any objection? There being none, session is adjourned.